everybody, and welcome back to CNC RC Adventures. I've got something really cool to show you today. These are portal axles, and these were sent to me by the folks over at RCAWD. And I'll put a link in the notes where you can find these yourselves. They contacted me and said, hey, would you like to review some of our products? And I said, of course, I would be happy to. So they sent me these axles. They also sent me a set of wheels and tires and a set of oil-filled shocks. The wheels and tires and the shocks we'll get to in a later video. We're going to focus on the portals today, but I wanted to go on and show those to you. So, what are portals? If you're not familiar with them, I'll kind of go through and give you kind of a quick explanation. So this is a stock axle, and you can see that on the stock axle, the center of the diff and where the gearing inside the diff is in line with the axles. On a portal, now this is the back one, but same idea. You can see the gearing and the drive gears inside and the axles sit up higher than where the wheels go. So that gives you more ground clearance. And that's the whole idea of portals, is to raise the center up to give you more ground clearance. I'll point out, first of all, let's talk about the axles themselves. This is the front axle. The housings are aluminum. It comes with aluminum links. It comes with a brass diff cover. These portal housings are brass, and it also comes with brass hexes. So, you know, raising everything up, you have to worry about your center of gravity. But I think with all this brass and everything on it and the way they have these built, I don't really feel like the center of gravity is going to be affected much at all. I will point out though, and this is something that may either be good or bad for you depending on your build, but you can see the stock axle versus the portal axle. So the portal axle is wider than the stock axle. So, you know, for a lot of people that's good, get you a little bit extra width. But if you're already running, you know, extenders or wheels that are really wide or something like that, that's just something to keep in mind. They are heavier than stock axles. I need to get a scale so I can give you guys some actual numbers. But this is a stock axle with the servo and the links still on it. And this portal axle by itself is a good bit heavier than this. I know a good bit is not a very scientific term, but trust me, it's noticeably heavier. So let's get these installed and we'll see how they do. And we're going to install them on this vehicle. You might have seen this in a previous episode. This is kind of a new project, one that we're working on. So we're going to install them on here and see how they do. Okay, so we have the front axle put on already. I haven't put the back one on yet. I wanted to show you first of all a side-by-side so you can see how much ground clearance we're gaining with the stock axle versus the stock axle on the left and then the portal axle on the right. Another thing that I wanted to point out to you guys is you'll notice that the wheels now spin in opposite directions. The back is still the stock axle, the front's the portal axle, and that's because the gearing inside the portal housing itself will make it run backwards. This particular vehicle is brushless, so it's easy enough to just go into the software and tell it to run the opposite direction. If you're running a brushed motor, you just want to swap the wires at the pin. That's relatively straightforward. I know there's plenty of videos on YouTube how to do that. So, all right, let's get the back one installed and then we'll take it on a test drive. Okay, so we have front and rear axle installed. We're going to try it out on the course. I just want to show something real quick. This has nothing to do with the axles, but just to kind of, I don't know if you can see, there's not I'm having an issue on this one where the front of my motor is hitting the link, suspension link at full compression. So when it's running, if you hear a grinding sound, it's not a bad sound, but it's just like a kind of buzz. That's what that is. That has nothing to do with these axles. But since we're talking about the axles and showing it running, I wanted to show you that that didn't have anything to do with the axles themselves. It's just an issue that I've got to kind of sort out on this, and I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So, with that said, let's watch it run. So this is probably the steepest part of my course. I'm going to be building something steeper, I'm sure, but I was worried about, with the weight being up higher, it being, too high and stuff, but it doesn't seem to bother it at all. So you can see right here where the portals are really gaining us a good bit of clearance. Here's a truck with stock axles, different tires than the one you just saw, but the same height tires. So you see that the center of that, let me see if I can get a better shot of this. So you can see the center of that axle is actually hitting the rock right there. It's resting on the rock. Whereas with the portals, we've got clearance. So you see we still have plenty of clearance on obstacles like this as well. So it doesn't look like it's really raised the center of gravity all too much. It kind of feels like maybe it's slightly higher, but even on things like this, on this side hill here, I'm not noticing any ill effects from it sitting up higher. So I think that with the brass down low, I think that counteracts any center of gravity difference from the height. So I gotta say, I am really a fan of these portal axles from RCAWD. I want to give them more testing outdoors and in different terrain, things like that. But I think I'm going to keep running them. I don't think I'm going to take them off this vehicle. The ground clearance is really good. I don't notice any big change in the center of gravity. So to me, both of those are kind of a positive thing. You can see everything sits up higher, so I'm probably going to tinker with this and get the body sitting down lower, or maybe run bigger tires or something. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. There's all kinds of options. One thing I wanted to point out, on the bottom here, there are two screws that stick out that hold the hubs in. I've noticed online a lot of people saying, "Oh, those screws are going to get hung up on everything. They're going to ruin all your ground clearance and stuff." My experience has been that doesn't matter. I have not had a problem yet where those screws get hung up on anything. I've obviously not tested these on every single possible terrain, every single possible course, so maybe it's possible. But to me, that's not something that I'm worried about, and I don't think it's anything negative at all. These axles are really well made. They go together easy. I'm a fan. Go and get yourself a set of these. There's a link in the show notes where you can get a set of your own. And until next time, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.